You really wanting to boost your self-esteem, your relationship with yourself, and really get to know you and just grow and flourish and be who you are. Well, today I'm going to talk about my two favorite books and the top five lessons I picked out for them from them on self-esteem. And if you stay until the end, I have an extra special point that I really want to use to cap it all off today. Now, before we dive in today, I just want to mention that if you want to keep up to date with the latest episodes, keep up to date with the latest confidence tip that I'm going to give you each week, then you can subscribe to our free weekly newsletter. All you got to do is click in the show notes below, and the link is right there for you. Okay, so my two favorite books, what are they? Two of my favorite books are The Way of the Superior Man by David Data and From the Core by John Wyland. Now, these are books about typically aimed at men. They can be read by other people, and it talks about the masculine and feminine energy. And the masculine and feminine energy doesn't mean just because I know there's different genders out there. We identify as different genders, and and they emphasize on it, just because someone's male doesn't mean they're masculine, or someone's female means they're feminine, or they're another gender, it means they're going to be one of those masculine or feminine dominants. We all have a mixture of these energies in us. What it does, though, is generally it's talking to guys how they can build depth within inside themselves. Yeah, I think it's applicable to anybody, the top lessons I picked out from these. Now, I always like to pick information from various sources, learn things, pick it up, and then put it into action plans. Because, as Napoleon Hill said from one of the greatest books ever, Think and Grow Rich, knowledge is not power. It is only power when it's put into personalized bits of action. And my mentor said it even better, Joseph McClendon. He said, activity is real power when you repeat something again and again. Now, action is a bit more powerful than just knowledge because you're not doing anything. So I always like to take things from this and then share it with people, so I'm really living it. And I also like to think, how can I implement that in my life as well? It talks a lot about the inner work, and that's really important, especially in this day and age when we're bombarded with distractions and people giving all different agendas to us. Because we that if we don't do the inner work, it means how we feel about ourselves, especially our self-esteem, is by chance of our environment, and we've got absolutely no control of other people, things, or circumstances. Right now, of course, there's going to be harder situations than others. Even when you do the inner work, it's going to be tough. Yeah, it's really, these books really focus how you can go a bit more in depth with yourself and really build a strong relationship with yourself. So you're going to back yourself more in life. I want to ask you this: how does it feel when you feel like, and I've been guilty of this, like feeling like I'm a victim of circumstance almost, and I'm like, right, I can't control things. I feel out of control. All bad things happen to me, and then I feel bad, like if anything bad goes my way, and I just completely don't feel like I'm running my own life. Well, it didn't do me any favors, certainly. Maybe you can relate to that. So these are my top five lessons I picked from the book that I wanted to share with you today. The first one: take responsibility for all creations. What that means is, going forward, stop blaming other things or other people for things, right? Now, unfortunately, some people are never going to get past this level of understanding. And there's another great book called Power versus Force, and there's another also great book called Letting Go by a guy called David Hawkins, and he talks about his map of consciousness. And unfortunately, there's people I've met who never get past, and it's no judgment. You know, we all got different views, perceptions of the world. Get past a certain level of understanding that actually, if we take responsibility for all creations, all things in our life, it becomes a lot more empowering. A lot of people are very easy to blame other people, right? But if you start take responsibility that even if things are tough and they come out of nowhere, that you have the ability to create something new. These challenges are an opportunity created for your own growth, right? That doesn't mean you shouldn't feel bad, doesn't mean you shouldn't grieve whatever the situation. it's taking responsibility for your own creations. Because how's that feel when you're like, oh, I can respond, I'm responsible for how I feel, for how I act. Probably a lot more empowering than like I feel out of control, all think bad things are happening. Because then you're never going to be in control of your own life. You're just going to be like by chance or circumstance. Okay. The second thing that I learned from this is a lot of people don't develop their nervous system enough. And what that means is our nervous system's like got different, there's different like parts to it, right? And you can have the and I won't go too much in depth, but ultimately your nervous system is how you feel. It's like lots of feelings and emotions stored in us. And that can be regulated with breath work, with going through different emotions, going into a tough one, into going into a tough emotion, and then pulling yourself back to green. And there's lots of nervous system practices out there that you can certainly look at. There's a polyvagal theory I would invite you to look at if you want to learn more about that. But spending even 5 minutes in the morning, like actually feeling into a pain, even though that sounds a bit weird, but then being able to navigate yourself back into a feeling of safety. So think of something that made you feel really safe or really confident, really great in your life. And then pull yourself into a state when you felt maybe a bit anxious, and then pull yourself into a state when you felt like really down. And what you want to do is pull yourself between the states, from the bad ones to the good, safe one, because that's going to allow you to train yourself more for life when those tough things come in. And a lot of people don't do the breath work, they don't go in depth. So again, I would invite you to look at either some somatic work or the polyvagal theory. That's really allowed me to develop my nervous system. And it's a work in progress. I'm going to be honest, right? There's some things which still make me stressed and a little bit angry, but I've been able to navigate through it and manage it a lot better than I used to. I know that's a bit heavy, that second point, but yeah, just look up some nervous system practices. And I would suggest looking up the polyvagal theory by Deb Dana. There's a great book, and there's also a great flip chart to demonstrate this. The third point, own your desires and insecurities. And you can do that with groups around you, supportive groups, right? So if you've got an insecurity, like you don't have to shout it to the world, don't worry. But if there's someone you can just open up to in trust, that's going to make a lot of power go away from it. Like I've had personal health problems before, and to actually share it with a friend, first of all, it really helped, even though it was hard work. So being able to own your desires, be honest about what you want, and these things, just even being honest with yourself. You don't have to shout it to the world. You don't have to shout it to many people. Just saying it to yourself, because when you can own them, that allows the power to come back to you, rather than hiding your insecurities, rather than not being honest about what your true desires in life are. The fourth one, you must choose to be loved. This is, and I practice this. This is a practice for me, right? Sometimes, because one of the things I can do, admittedly, is get quite angry. Like in a project management sort of sales environment, it's kind of go, go, go. And, I don't get flipped off by everything. I try and have quite a cool head and have direction, but sometimes like challenges come in, all in my personal life as well, especially last year. But at the end of the day, what I found really effective, and what both the books teach, is being love, choosing love. And it doesn't mean being like Mr. Nice Guy or Mrs. Nice Guy or the nice person, whoever you are, like, and trying to please everyone. It's about being love for yourself, really living out of love for yourself, and then choosing love. Because when you maybe, not talking about romantic love here, by the way, although obviously that's a type of love. I'm talking about a general love and connection with other people. How's it feel when you feel more connected and feeling like you're living from a heartfelt place? Well, for me, it feels pretty amazing. Yet the mind takes over with all the stresses, the comparisons we've got. So choose to live with love as much as possible, and aim to make as many decisions as possible, because that will also help your self-esteem. And also, the final point, be reliant on yourself for feeling good, not from someone else, not from a circumstance, yourself. because if you put it for something else, you're always at risk because you are not in control and it's not coming from you internally. Now, I've got a bonus point for you as well. Just for that, I want to mention again the weekly newsletter where you're going to get updates on the latest podcast episodes and also a weekly confidence tip as well. Get that for absolutely free. All you got to do is click in the link in the show notes below and sign up for that for absolutely free. Okay, so my bonus point I wanted to share. To really connect with yourself, and I found putting some time in for myself in my week, but this is even more effective. Find some time every single day doing what you absolutely love. Now, one of the books say an hour. Even if it's 30 minutes, in my view, it's going to be effective. So find what you absolutely love. Now, if you're a little bit stuck, spend 30 minutes to an hour discovering what you love. Try some different things. Maybe it's like, oh, actually, as a kid, I used to paint a little bit, but I haven't painted for years. Maybe I could connect with that again. And yeah, you just try that 30 minutes. And it's not for you. Maybe you say, oh, actually, I really enjoy walking. Maybe you try that for 30 minutes a day. And then when you find something you really enjoy, just spend 30 minutes a day on that as well, because that will really boost your relationship with yourself by giving you what you need. And if you're really struggling to fit it in the day, put it in the morning, put it before everything else starts, even if you've got to get up 30 minutes, an hour early. So that's what I got for you today. I appreciate you for being here. You're improving other people's lives with being the best you. And remember, you are in control of your own self-esteem and confidence.